will be a work in progress forever, but nerves that fire together, wire together. The more you work on being positive, the more you start to get momentum. The more you become obsessed with building your brand instead of just lessening and cheaping it and chasing new patients, the more the brand will work for you when you're asleep for years to come. All right, chiropractors and chiropractic students, welcome to the Family Practice Podcast. You know, the one you've been waiting way too long for, because this podcast will actually stay focused on chiropractic. Not only what it takes to get world-class clinical results for kids and families in your community, but also what it takes to build a legendary, incredible family practice that takes care of your family way beyond your dreams. I'm Dr. Tony Ebel, and I'll be joined by Dr. Matt Hill, Dr. Ellie Wright, Jackie Jacobowitz, and incredible guests, chiros, associates, CAs, all these folks making massive impact around the world. We're going to cover everything: pediatric, perinatal, family practice. This is the podcast you've been waiting for, because moms and dads and families have always needed us. Now they're finally ready for us. I hope you're ready for the Family Practice Podcast. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, chiropractors, chiropractic students, and anybody who's awesomely tuned into this Family Practice Podcast? If you are a loyal listener, first off, thank you. Second, you know that once a month we throw down an extra episode on a Friday, and it's Dr. Tony's Thoughts from the Trenches. So that's me, honestly, just turning on the microphone and saying, this month, still in practice. Because remember, what sets this podcast apart is it's not only purely about family, neurologically focused chiropractic. I'm still in it. So I'm not talking about from past stories. I'm not talking about the way it used to be. And when I say I'm still in it, let me actually define that a little bit further. I'm still all in for it. I'm not chasing side hustles. I'm not more interested in crypto than chiropractic. I'm freaking locked in, you all. This is my obsession. This is my calling from above, to be the most dialed in world-class clinical chiropractor who can find and annihilate subluxation like no one else on earth. And don't take that as a cocky statement. Take that as a humble statement. In fact, when I get to one of the things on the list, what I want you to do is go after nonstop getting better at the one thing you can do that no one else outside of chiropractors can do, which is that transform lives with your hands. Okay. So I want you to know that especially these episodes, they're literally coming from thick in it, right smack in it, in practice. And then they also come from not only clinical lessons and insights, that might be 1 month, or they come from personal, like how the frick am I doing keeping up with all that's on our plates collectively, right? You ever feel that way? You're like, oh my goodness, how do I keep up with everything? And then you might look at me and go, how the heck does he keep up with everything? Well, I'm going to answer a lot of that question. I'm going to give you a lot of that answer here today on this one. So let me actually explain. And actually real quick, I've noticed a lot of you, when you reach out and you really love these episodes, and even kind of my introductions to some of the other interviews or deep dive topics that I do, you're kind of loving just keeping pace with what's Tony working on? Where's he going? What's next? Well, I'm actually recording this one. Usually I record it towards the end of the month because I kind of let that whole month experience kind of, come through and then speak about it ahead for the podcast for the next month. I'm actually recording this one mid-month because very soon I'm going to be getting on a plane and not only going to rock the Florida National Convention, so I'll see my humid alligator, crocodile loving gators, definitely gators, friends down there. Do they have crocodiles in Australia? Maybe. I don't know, but I'm going to find out. Literally a couple days after that, I get on a plane and I go to Australia, and we're teaching our first ever international CERT course and neurotonal pediatric adjusting seminars. So what's up, Adelaide and Aussie homies? I'm coming. Actually, I'll be to you before this one even comes out. Then I'm dropping over to New Zealand as well, and I'm going to go tour and visit New Zealand Chiropractic College. I get to speak to students both at ACC there in Adelaide, and I get to speak to students and faculty and alumni, anybody who can make it there in NZCC. So I'm freaking fired up. So that's what's coming. And if you're like, oh, cool, that's a Tony update. Guys, I want you to know that when you get a Tony update, you're getting a pediatric chiropractic taking over for the woeful, deadly, awful pediatrician mission, vision, strategic plan update. Okay. I am simply a representation of us. I am one of us. I might be the most HE double hockey sticks. I'll just say it, hell-bent one of us, all freaking in and, willing and always ready to get on a plane and go after it. But I want you to know that it's happening. It's working. This kind of chiropractic, the family practice model that is pure, principled, chiropractic, subluxation-based, nervous system focused, and cash only. This model's on fire. I only say cash because if you're dealing with back pain and everything else, you probably got to deal with insurance, right? To try and cut your place out in that red ocean of competing with every other chiropractor, PT, massage therapist, orthopedic, and stretchy decompression device. So in the world that we all get to practice in, if you really want that model of practice, a thriving family practice that is crazy impactful, crazy fun, and ends up being crazy successful for you and your family, just know that the model is not only now proven and dialed in, and we know the exact blueprint, how to teach you to how to have it too with all things PX, but it's blowing up, not just in the States and Canada, it is yours for the taking, whether Australia, New Zealand, South America, and then next February, we don't have the date in the hotel yet, but it'll be London. We're coming over to you in the UK. So good day. All right. Okay. With that, yeah, pretty keen to get on that. Well, I'm not keen, which is what I think they say in Australia, like stoked and fired up. I'm not keen to be on a plane for 25 hours in both directions, but that is just the part that will get me to what I am stoked about, which is getting there, teaching, and lighting this thing up over on that continent too. All right, let me explain the title of this one. You need some context here, okay? Before I start ripping into these top 10 I do these hard things happily list. When I say do hard things, I could just stay there and it could be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I got willpower. I'm sick of struggling. I got big goals. And you can just be like, do hard things. Let's go. Andy Frisella, come with me. David Goggins, Cameron Haynes. Let's get them on a panel. I'm in. I'm going to take creatine. Where's my no explode? Crank Metallica or whatever you choose for workout music. Yeah, well, your workouts, at that full zone 4, zone 5 sort of workout mentality, willpower will make this work for me to do hard things mentality. I'll probably work out like my workouts. I love zone 4s, love zone 5, still CrossFit a couple times a week these days. They don't go much more than 7, 8, 15, 20, 30 minutes, right? We're talking about doing hard things happily so they're sustainable, so you can consistently on repeat, not for a year, not for a month, not for a decade, for your entire life and your entire career. Can you step up and do these 10 hard things happily? I want to give you the math. If you were to do 2 or 3, you'd make yourself in the top 10 to 20% of chiropractors, of successful people, happy people, joyful people on the planet. If you were to do 5 or 6, I am extremely confident you would get yourself and earn your way into the top 2 to 5% of people. And you're like, what does that mean? You pick it. I wouldn't even just say income. I would literally say in joyfulness, in fulfillment. And what does that then create? Value. What does that create? Impact. What does that create? Income, right? You freaking do 8, 9, 10 for 10 on this list, like my wife and I do. And I'm telling you, I'm just going to speak from this is me. This is how I roll. This is not how I started. This is not how I was born. Every single freaking one of these, I've had to work my face off to get here. And I still on the regular need to be reminded of the value of doing these 10 hard things happily, joyfully, and excitedly. And now that I'm on the other side, now that I've completed the workout, you ever do that in the middle of the workout? You're just regretting all your life choices, but at the end of the marathon, at the end of the workout, at the end of the triathlon, at the end of whatever it is for you that you do, even if you only have a few examples of these lives, of the hard things that you step up and do, we're chasing the impact, the feeling that comes from it. This is not a process conversation. This is an impact. This is what you're going to become, who you're going to become, and the impact you're going to make, and the return of value, impact, enjoyment, fulfillment, and finances that are going to come from it. So I better get to it. Number 1 on the Do Hard Things Happily, Dr. Tony's top 10 list, lessons from the trenches, because man, if you do this day to day in your practice, in your life, look the flip out. Number 1, it's hard to stay positive, to be default joyful and default grateful in a ridiculously negative whiny, complaining, excuse making, identity crisis, woe is me freaking world. And I love this for myself, my wife, and my kids. If I can just get us on this one. Now, not every one of us by DNA is joyful and positive on the regular. You may listen to this and be like, I'm going to just, hit plus 30 on my little podcast app because I want to get to the next one because that's just the way I am. I love when people are like, I just like to keep it real. Real limited, real stupid to continue to make that mindset your default setting. Did you know that Stephen Deutsch wrote a book? Norman Deutsch, sorry. I think I went Stephen Porges, Norman Deutsch together there. Did you know there's multiple books that says the brain that changes itself, the brain that heals itself? Did you know you could go pretty much anywhere in podcast land, neuroscience land, seminar land, PX land, and you could realize, the brain is completely plastic and the nervous system is ridiculously plastic. So if you're going to use the excuse, this is just the way I am, that's how you are now. If you really wanted to change it, you would just work at it. You would just put in the outputs and the effort to literally reframe, rewire, and change your brain and change how you are. You can absolutely, I don't believe people can change their core character, but they can absolutely, positively, it's not even close how proven this is. You can change your traits. You can change the expressions. You can absolutely change your wiring in this way. Let me give you an example of what sets PX. Each of these 10 I have, I'm going to try and give you a quick little example story, real life case study. Okay, it's the From the Trenches episode. We've had this Facebook group for the past 5+ years called Pediatric Chiropractic Today. When other chiropractors or students come in, it's pretty obvious what they're going to get out of it, right? They're going to get a support and content that helps them see more kids and have a family practice. We ask the question like, hey, what's the number one thing holding you back? I think there's 3 questions. The third one is your email, so we can continue those that want it, right? The positive people who are all in, ready to grow and get better are the ones we're looking for. So give us your email if you come in. But the second question is like, what's holding you back from seeing more kids and families in your practice right now? The first question is, hey, where are you at? Where's your certainty? Where's your skill level? Whenever someone asks the first question this way, oh, I got it. I'm dialed in. I'm thrice certified. I've got this, and I'm a pediatric and perinatal and family practice wizard. When they answer the first question with a nice tinge of cockiness and aren't I awesomeness, they automatically, without even reading their answer to the second one, when it says, hey, what's holding you back from seeing more families? I know what's coming. You know what they do when they're full of themselves? They blame everybody else for the limitations of pediatric chiropractic and why we haven't really taken over healthcare. They go, oh, they don't get it. Parents don't get it. The medical system, they make excuses. See, when you are default negative, you're kind of default narcissistic at the same time. You're like, well, the only way I can be happy is to just, fulfill my own ego and fulfill my own feeling great about this. It's unbelievable that if you were to take the opposite approach of that right now. So let's give you the example I'm trying to get to with this. You should be the most joyful, grateful, positive leaning, thinking, and action taking chiropractor in the history of this incredible profession, because the market forces are for us right now. It's unbelievable. I mean, look at Bobby Kennedy. Look at how absolutely the pharmaceutical industry is crumbling. Look at the level of distrust that is there with medical doctors and pediatricians. Like, are you paying any attention at all to what the tea leaves really read right now when it comes to your profession and your opportunity versus your challenges? Would you have liked to practice 100 years ago when you would have got put in jail for being a nervous system focused subluxation based chiropractor? Would you have liked to practice in the 70s and 80s when the pharmaceutical industry, big chemical, big ag industry were still dominating and you could barely chip away at that? You had to kind of do these like secret side, doctor's reports and new patient talks and just fight against the grain to get there? Or would you rather practice now, where freaking opportunity is literally coming at us at a rate that when you honestly are even somewhat good at being positive and capturing opportunity, you have a hard time keeping up? It's ridiculous to me that this would not be a season where any and all chiropractors are absolutely demolishing records in a pediatric, perinatal, and family practice nervous system system model. But if you start out negative, but if you look out at the world and go, oh, we're only seeing 8 to 10%, the pediatrician still does this, and the pharmaceutical, they still. If you're worried about what they still do, you're stuck standing still, and you're missing that opportunity. And I could go on for an hour about that one, but I got 9 more. Let's go. Number 2, it's hard to build and then keep building daily so that you preserve a world-class brand when you could just pay someone to run Facebook ads, when you could just pay students to go do screenings, when you could have that easy way of getting new patients. Building a brand and then maintaining, I don't even love the word, that's like maintenance care, and then continuing to promote and proactively push that brand further into your community in the world. Branding is hard. Advertising is easy. Screenings are easy. Giving coupons and sales and discounts is easy. And marketing is in the middle. So I actually want to get 2 and 3 kind of together into my story. It's also hard, number 3, the thing I do happily, to continue to market, create content, go out in your community and put on Perfect Storm or Raising Healthy Kids or Birth and Beyond workshops. It's hard when you are, and here's when it gets really, really hard, when you're already successful and you could put your practice on cruise control and you could walk around at chiro seminars or in chiropractic Facebook groups and you could pop out your peacock feathers and you could go, I am a referral only practice. I don't need to market. Well, I don't know exactly what your financial needs are or what your new patient numbers are for you to feel important and like you've made it. I don't care either, because the reason I'm a chiropractor is to not make my life better. The reason I'm a chiropractor is to make their lives better. So going on 18 years here, as we turn the calendar here shortly after this one gets released, I will have 18 years of being a practice owner, a family practice owner. I am marketing harder, making more content, and our team. I've hired literally multiple marketers. I've brought all of my marketing. Everybody is in-house, and no one, another word for marketing in today's world, by the way, if you want to kind of get a little like how to do it lesson, it's definitely not about screenings. It's definitely not about, cheap Facebook ads. You should never do paid advertising until you crush organic first. Sorry, I can't not teach marketing while I'm talking about it from a bigger concept. We're marketing harder and cranking more content than ever before because there's more sick kids and struggling families and sick people than ever before. Marketing is not so we can make more money. Marketing is so we can impact more lives. And the way you do marketing has everything to do with why you do marketing, and why you do marketing, which then again, let's go back through that algorithm one more time, dictates entirely how it is presented, what kind of projection is going to go out into your community. One of either we are here to serve, we are here to provide hope, answers, and help and empower you. We are here to help. That builds your brand. When you market through sales and advertising, that erodes your brand. And everybody right now listening, and it might be yours that goes one way, this is a bifurcation point. A lot of chiropractic practices in their local community have this incredible brand. And a lot of chiropractors, and especially the chiropractic profession as a whole, has an awful brand. And why you market, which then again, third time through, dictates how you market, has everything to do with how you build your brand. Brands, to put a stamp on this one before we move to number 4, because I'm kind of teaching the concepts around 2. It's hard to build a brand and it's hard to keep marketing when you quote unquote don't need to in terms of the stat sheets and finances, but they, in those sick kids in your community, need you to. Then it doesn't become hard. Then you become happy about it. Brands are built on world-class results, world-class patient experiences, world-class culture, team, world-class character and core values. And you know what else? And take this one to the bank. Right now in the digital age, YouTube, podcast, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, right now your brand is built on content. And then you might go, I don't make content. Then you don't have a brand, okay? You have a brand. I'll be a little nicer. You have one. It's just extremely small, barely known, and limited to your 4 walls. Therefore, so is the impact you have in your community. Number 4, it's hard to stay committed to your craft, so much so that day after day, week after week, year after year, you keep refining it. You keep working at it. You keep getting better at it. I will tell you, this week recording this podcast, I have a couple of our intensive seizure patients, and this is actually, I'd like to jump ahead to number 9. They went down these functional medicine worlds. They took a bunch of these gut detox, microbiome rebuilding, sort of supplements, and it absolutely wreaked havoc on their nervous system. The providers didn't tell us about it. So anyways, right now, I am facing more complex, tough cases that are on my schedule and in our practice than I've ever had in my career. And I started year 1, 2008. I technically opened in November 2007. The first time I ever did a Perfect Storm workshop was in early 2008. So for my entire career, I've taken on the toughest of cases. Now, why do I bring my story of taking on tough, complex cases into this number 4? That it's hard to not go on cruise control with your craft, with how you adjust, with how you communicate, with how you care plan. Once you get successful and you just memorize this stuff, you become the chiropractor that everybody doesn't like and gives chiropractic a bad brand. Everybody gets the same adjustment every single time. You only do the same care plan. You only say the same thing every single time. You go through the same analysis. You mark up your x-rays the same. You interpret scans the same. You table talk the same. That's not getting better. That's staying the same. And if you're only staying the same, the world's moving forward, so you're actually going backwards. And so the one thing I can say to you for this one is, if I could implore you to do anything, it's step up, stay humble, and take on tougher cases. This calling I have I'm smiling now. I know it's a podcast for us here. Listen, you can't see me smiling. I've never had more fun being a subluxation-based chiropractor. I've never had more fun figuring out more about the nervous system, subluxation's intricacies, diving deeper into scan interpretation and gait in coordination and subluxation presentation, and this technique does this and that technique does that, and if I adjust them in this position or with this torque or with this line of drive or with this amplitude. I've never been more challenged, and I've never loved it more as a result. You only find the depths of how awesome chiropractic really is when you get to flip off cruise control clinically as well. Number 5, whole podcast. Actually, we've done many episodes about this, and you can count on multiple episodes per quarter teaching you how to become a better leader. Because it's hard, number 5, to do hard things happily that have to do with leadership. It's hard to figure out how to be a masterful chiropractor. It's hard to figure out communication and conversions. It's hard to figure out marketing it and getting new patients in the door. It's hard to figuring out SOPs and systems and procedures and playbooks and finances and QuickBooks and just how to run a practice that we'll call business ops, operations. And then there's the whole people thing. If you get even marginally good at every little list I just ripped through, you have to lead others, okay? Now you're a boss. Now you're a leader. And you can either be a boss, you could either be a manager, you could either just pay people to frustrate you more than they help you, or you could step up and learn to lead. The number one thing, and again, I'm not going to teach a lot with this one, I'm just telling you that leadership is the hardest skill. I probably could have led with it. It may be, as God had me build this list out of these top 10, maybe the reason it's right smack in the middle at number 5 is because this is the one that truly for so many of our careers is a make it or break it in the middle of our careers. Now, I don't think as a student or a startup, you need to spend the majority of your time learning leadership. You got to have a reason to lead first, which is clinical mastery, communication, marketing, right? You got to build a practice before you can afford to hire associate doctors, chiropractic assistants, and then need to figure out how to lead. But you'll reach this season, like the moment you get successful, this is either your magic golden unlock key to literally scale your practice to infinity, or it's the key you never find and the lock you don't know how to get through, and you stay stuck there forever, okay? Leadership is the true make it or break it component of continuing to grow and scale your practice. If someone teaches you that scaling your practice is mostly entirely, if they say that scaling has to do with systems, and when they're teaching you or bringing you a seminar or you're paying this coach, and they're not teaching 3 leadership lessons, 9 leadership lessons to every 1 systems, stat sheet, efficiencies. The last thing I need in my life is a systems guru. For the rest of my career, I will surround myself and hunt down learning from world-class leaders because it's the hardest skill set I've ever had to learn. And that's the whole concept of this podcast. And hopefully you've heard this concept before, that when you do hard things, everything in life becomes so much more effective. Your results are through the roof, and then life gets happier and easier, because that's really what it is. On the other side of this is the best freaking experience. So taking on leadership and going from how awful I was, I turned over my entire practice team. I reached $1 million practice in 3 years by year 3. So I think I had 10, 12, maybe it was 14 employees at one time. I literally burned through that whole team, everybody. CAs and associates 2 times over. Before the 3rd time, I realized it wasn't them, it was me. And I finally started to take that hard thing. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to learn to lead. If you ask me on any given day right now, if you catch me in a weak moment, I might be like, yeah, I know, I'd like to outsource this to Indonesia. And then it's like, oh yeah, you can't. You can outsource a lot of things, and you can hire a team to do a lot of other things. You're the leader. Okay, especially if you're in the same position that I am. All right, number 6, it's hard to pour out all sorts of energy into your patients and community, into your team, into your business, into marketing, into meetings. How many things are on that list right there? 5? Okay, patients, team, business, marketing, meetings. They need and require a lot of energy expenditure from you. So does your health, so does your family. It's really hard to pour out energy into all these places that grow our practice and grow our business and fulfill our mission and our vision, and then still have any, let alone what I'm going to challenge you to do, to have copious amounts of energy left over. And I don't even like that term. Available for your kids and for your family. If you were to follow me home to the farm, follow me driving up my quarter-mile lane, parking the truck in the garage, the phone stays in there, the laptop stays in there, and my energy coming through the door is not, oh, nobody talked to me, I'm so tired, it was such a hard day. There's no complaining energy. There's no worn out energy. I'm not saying I've batted 1,000 with this, but my batting percentage is freaking dialed, yo. And I come into that house, where is my smoking hot, incredible, beautiful, hardworking wife? Where are my incredible, all in, I can't wait to hang with you, play with you kids? My energy is on point everywhere. I'm not overly energy expended into my business, my practice, my meetings, my marketing. And if you know me, you guys, I'm freaking cranked there. I don't half-ass anywhere. But if you literally make energy production your number 1 focus, you have plenty, okay? So be where your boots are. Really focus on your, what I call ideal week, and your guardrails. If you have not read the book, Willpower Doesn't Work. If you have not read a book, Free to Focus, they're both pretty similar. You can pick one of those 2. Read them, protect your schedule, build your ideal week, put your guardrails up, be where your boots are. You learn these concepts, your energy 10x's, and your family gets the best of you, not the rest of you. Number 7, it's hard to stay physically active and healthy when you're, again, busy with the business, busy with your spouse, and then you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to do that. I'm going to give everything to my business. I'm going to give everything to my wife and kids, but I got nothing left in the tank to go get that workout in. Once again, my solution, my strategy is the same. You build it in, you track it, and you stay consistent. I'll tell you this. I export more energy into content than probably any chiropractor, right? I've got 2 podcasts. I talk 1,000,000 miles an hour just like this. I could do, I'm going to say this to practicing chiropractors, and you're all going to feel this. Y'all know this. If I had a shift with like 4, 6, 8 new patients and reported findings versus a shift where I adjusted 120 people, I would have more energy coming home from the adjusting shift than the communication shift. So in our practice, on some shifts we're communicating, other shifts we're adjusting. We protect our energy in that way. So now imagine making a ton of marketing content. And you know this, right? You do a workshop, you go out, do community networking, you make videos or podcasts or do webinars. Maybe you've done even some of this. You're like, whoa, I didn't know it, but that absolutely fries me. So bringing that into the equation, I have to be smart with when I take care of my physical health. I have to do it before I get on the microphone and crank content, because after, I don't have the energy to turn on the JBL party box and get my country music workout. I have 2 workout music playlists, actually 3, okay? I have country music workout playlists, and now right now you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's going on a tangent, but that's kind of funny. That can't exist. You want the podcast, you want the playlist? It's fire, okay? Number 2, I've got a Christian workout music, so I'm in the right mindset with that, closer connected to the creator of my faith. And then I use this one way less because it's going to be a hard left turn from my other podcast, which is 2000s Hip Hop. And that one's really, really good. And it's the furthest thing away from the Christian playlist. And so I bring that in to be funny. There's sometimes that I just got to get on content, or I got to get in the practice early, and I don't get that workout in the head. Cheat code to protect your health: crank up the music, okay? Literally turn the music on, start moving, start sweating. Who knows neurology? Movement does what to the brain and the nervous system and your batteries? Oh yeah, it charges it. Just go for a freaking walk. Start sweating, crank the music, get it going. All right, number 8. It's hard to step up, speak out, and tell people the truth about conventional medicine, the pediatrician, birth trauma, antibiotics, vaccinations, the obstetrician, right? It's hard. I'm actually going to be really brief on this one. Not only am I running out of time for kind of my total time I wanted this episode to be on do hard things happily, here's my top 10. It's actually never been easier to do this one, okay? Had you done it in 2020, 2021, harder, right? I would actually argue it's not even a good strategy to necessarily go rogue at that time, because you'd be deplatformed, kicked off places, and then how are you going to impact people if you can't be there? So I've always taken a very smart, aggressive strategy to content and to marketing. I used to run radio ads and print this stuff in local frickin' magazines that was pretty bold, pretty controversial, and really chock full of frickin' truth from the very beginning. Now we just put it on social media. We put it on the podcast, the Experience Miracles podcast. If you listen to this podcast and you don't subscribe to that one, the Experience Miracles podcast, that is the parent-facing one. Not only should you be listening, because you can, I think it's like a great training podcast for pediatric and family chiropractors, because it's me talking to them the way I do. And you can take notes, be like, hey, this is an effective way to communicate. You should also be sending that one out in your funnels and those sort of things to educate your patients, which is what we do for all of our PXME clients. Those funnels are just built for you. New patient funnels, workshop funnels, ad funnels, new patient. What I mean by new patient funnels is nurture funnels. If you've ever wanted to have your patients very effectively educated about the nervous system, about subluxation, about chiropractic, not about nutrition and supplements and pillows and orthotics, but all about chiropractic, but make it very curated to them. So this one's an autism funnel. This one's a colic funnel. This is a perinatal funnel. This is a fertility funnel. Yeah, guess what? We have those all built out for you. So if you didn't even know that product exists from PX, shoot us a DM and be like, hey, tell me more about this PX marketing engine and these done for you funnels. We've been building them all year. It's a dream come true. PwC now has them. Our conversions, our retention, our referrals, which were already fire, are just through the roof. So easier than ever to get into that. Number 9, a little bit of a WOSA one right here. It's harder than ever to step up and say the truth about, hey, our diet changes, detoxes, functional this, integrative this, holistic that, homeopathic this. Is that really getting to the root cause? Guys, right now, in the best of ways, parents are being educated and empowered about how important wellness is, lifestyle is, nutrition is, diet is, microbiome is. They're still not getting the whole story as to why their kids and their family are chronically sick. And so and we love these folks. This is who we take our kids to, right? This is how we live. We're holistic. We're natural. We're nutrition. We learn all this. We love it as chiropractors. Like, this is literally how we live. But that's also caused us to be deluded and distracted. And now the marketplace is. All of these other kind of sort of look like and sound like us and have similar but not same philosophies, because guess what a supplement is? Outside in. Guess what a medication is? Outside in. Guess what chiropractic is? Inside out. So when someone says, oh, we have the same philosophy, our science works the same, and we're getting to the root cause, but they're not talking about subluxation, nervous system dysregulation, and the power of the adjustment, well, that's the rootest cause. So what I want to challenge you on with number 9, as we round this and get almost done, you gotta tell your community the truth as well, that while they've tried everything, not just pharmaceutical and traditional medical, but everything holistic, functional, integrated biomedical, there's still a very pivotal, essential, foundational missing piece of the conversation, and a very pivotal, foundational, life transformational provider missing from the team, and it's you. And you shouldn't just be the seventh most important person on the team. You should lead the healthcare team for your families. Because the way God designed us is the nervous system. Bruce Lipton said the function of the nervous system is to perceive the environment and coordinate the behavior of all other cells. Which other cells? All. What about the environment? Perceive the environment. So the perception, the coordination, the expression, that's neurological. The job of the nervous system is to adapt and respond to the environment. So what happens to all your families and this world that awesomely is waking up to wellness, supplements, biohacking, freaking billion-dollar industries? Are people healthier? Is anxiety going down? Is autism going down? Is chronic illness going down? No, it's not. The more we cold plunge ourselves into nervous system regulation, the more we're having the right conversation, but not the most potent and effective intervention. Number 10, it's hardest of all to do all 10, I guess technically 9 of these, consistently, repeatedly, and for life. And I want to close with this. But when you do, every freaking dream of impact, income, joy, fulfillment, and fun comes to you. I want to give you a word, and I've literally always lived this life. If you've been a patient of ours at PwC forever, especially if a child is very perfect stormy and their life is just chaotic and it's stressed and the family literally lives in that storm, what I tell them all the time is like, hey, we've got a big fancy vision statement in here. You know, we want your child thriving and we want you experience. I name the company. You know, we wear experience miracles, expect miracle shirts, pediatric experience. Like we have these big fancy words. But I'm a dad, I'm a father, and I'm an Iowa farmer-born farmer dad. And so what I tell patients all the time is what I want to tell you in closing of this one. The most boring life is the best life. I always tell those families, if we do our job well here with chiropractic, we're just going to get your child so much more boring than they are now. You know what a boring, regular, this is just normal kid can do? Go to a restaurant and have dinner, go to vacation, get on a plane, go to a hotel, go live life, go to school, make friends, take tests, go off to college, meet somebody, get married, start a family on their own. That's actually pretty ordinary if you kind of put it up against all this other stuff we could talk about. And so I think what you actually want is an ordinary life, because what few people in today's just freaking upside down, inside out, overcomplicated world forget to tell you is that the ordinary life is not one that comes easy. You have to do a lot of hard things happily, super consistently, but the ordinary, boring, mundane, wildly predictable, and obsessively consistent life, because you're a wildly boring, predictable, consistent, mundane person, has the best life, creates the most impact, experiences the most joy, the most fulfillment, the most purpose-driven experience ever, and they tend to build a really extraordinary life, financially, experiences, you name it, as a result of the absolute mundane, not easy, pretty darn hard to do, especially consistently over time, life that could ever be constructed. And I hope that this episode, 2 of them, 3 of them, goodness gracious, please go for all 9 of them. You will be a work in progress forever, but nerves that fire together, wire together. The more you work on being positive, the more you start to get momentum. The more you become obsessed with building your brand instead of just lessening and cheaping it and chasing new patients, the more the brand will work for you when you're asleep for years to come. The more you work on protecting your energy and having it coming out in spades for your family and for your workouts, the more that energy will literally foster, facilitate, habituate more energy. Again, it's the nervous system, and the more you can do with that. And the more you get uncomfortable at first, just stepping up, speaking out, and telling the truth, the more people are going to say to you, thank you, I hear you, I feel you, I believe you, and now I trust you. So I'm bringing my entire family and the whole freaking cul-de-sac in to see you, because I'm now a part of your community and a part of your practice and a part of your purpose. It's those that live this way that not only experience life the best, but they build the biggest, strongest, most improve the world altogether tribe. What you actually just learned about today is not just the inner workings of me, Dr. Tony Ebel, but you actually learned the list of things that an all-in PX doctor really does on the daily. Boring, mundane, consistent, obsessively relentless, and the outcomes are extraordinary. Hey, Dr. Tony here, and I wanted to say thank you for listening to the Family Practice Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, like and subscribe to the show so you don't miss a thing. Also, if you're looking for more content from us, you can absolutely subscribe to our newsletter, watch exclusive episodes on YouTube, and dive deep into the articles and blogs on our website. All of this is linked in today's show notes. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.